All right, this is If My People. Bible reading part 229. We are in the book of the Revelation of Yeshua, and we're going through the types of churches. Doesn't mean specifically your church or anybody else's church. It means the types, behaviors, what you're identified, what you say, and then what you really do, what you say you believe, and then how you demonstrate what you believe in a verb form, actually doing something. So we're ready to go through the next church being listed, and we are in chapter 2, starting in verse 8. So this is to the assembly in Smyrna. Now these assemblies were real locations. We went through Ephesus, and now we're going through Smyrna. Ephesus is not too good. Has something to do with sexual behaviors. That's why we've gone all through this Bible from the very beginning, and how the DNA and sexual deviant behavior is simply incredibly, horrifically wrong. And all the people in their LOG, elemental P type of, well, I feel like a woman today, I feel like a dog. Come on. I mean, it's just, we're not going to argue with people like that because you're arguing with something that doesn't make any sense. It's just stupid. People make up anything and then you end up arguing with them. Don't argue with them. Walk away. They do not have the Ruach in them. Period. You're throwing your pearls of wisdom to a bunch of swine. So now we're in Smyrna. We're going to keep going. Yahweh is bringing all this up. He's identifying everybody on the face of the earth before he gives you the revelation. It says, I know your afflictions and your poverty. In other words, poverty meaning poverty. They don't have a lot in life. But he says, but you are rich. You're rich in the faith, you're rich in the walk, and you're rich in the word. I know the slander of those who say they are Jews and are not. Now, you could put anybody in that word, a non-believer, a fake, a liar, a cheat. There were certain people in those days that were Jewish who hated Yeshua, and they died. And there are people today who claim they're Jewish and they hate Yeshua, and there is the same death. But that doesn't mean just because someone says they're Jew, they're evil. No, not even close. You've got to watch what they say and watch what they do. And that's what Yeshua wants you to do, because HaSatan is a brilliant, beautiful, wonderful thing. He isn't a red-faced, horned individual who wears leotards and carries a fork. Not even close. Okay? He, the, John says they're the synagogue of Satan. Today we use the word church because the church people can't say, and the Christians say, oh, it's those Jews over there. Everybody's going like this. Wrong. If you're doing that, you're both wrong. So, I tell you, the accuser will put some of you in prison and test you, and you will suffer persecution for 10 days. Be faithful even to the point of death, and I will give you the crown of life. To 10 days means a period of time, testing, and beyond testing means hang in there, persevere. And it says you will suffer, and there will you be persecuted. Well, that's what it means. So those name it and claim it preachers who say you'll never be touched because you'll be raptured out, or you're totally incapable of getting hurt by anyone because God will come down and throw thunderbolts at people? No, it doesn't say anything like that in the Word. Next Torah coming up is, here it is, verse 11. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Ruach says to the assemblies. Now, you're going to hear this over and over again, the very beginning of Revelation. It means pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. He who overcomes will not be hurt at all by the second death. Your body can be slaughtered, killed, died, burned, blown up, fall off a cliff, run over by a truck. That's your body. It's gone. But you have always been the soul. Your soul existed long before your body ever did. Long before. It pre-existed. Okay? Got to get that right. And the second death is your soul. You pray every day for the hope and the grace and the mercy that your soul will be saved. And if you live through into the millennium, wonderful. Wonderful. And a lot of people will, because as I've said before throughout this Bible that we've gone through, is that there are more people alive walking on this earth right now than who have ever walked on the face of the earth since Noah. All the people that have died since Noah to the day don't even add up to those who are still walking and living. It's the exponential curve. It's this. We're way up here. There's a lot of people being born throughout the world, and it's huge. That exponential curve was exactly what was going on at the time of Noah. Started off with Adam and Eve, and it built up to that. Okay. Now, does he have good things to say about the church of Smyrna? Yes, he does. He says, don't be afraid. You're going to suffer a bit, but you're going to be okay. You're poor. You haven't got anything. You don't go out there and take wealth and then want more and more and more and more like a lot of people do today. No, persevere. You're going to be okay. So that's good. So it's 1-to-1 so far. One bad, one good. Next is to the messenger. It's verse 12, Pergamum. And Pergamum, it says, I know where you live, where HaSatan has his throne, like as in Pergamus, Pergo. You remain true to my name. You did not renounce your faith in me, even in the days of Antipas, my faithful witness, who was put to death in your city where HaSatan lives. Nevertheless, I have a few things against you. You have people there who hold to the teaching of Balaam. Today it's called abortion. The United States just loves abortion. So does China. Who taught Balak to entice the Israelites to sin by eating food sacrificed to animals, and that's committing all kinds of things that are just, it isn't right. And here it is again, committing sexual immorality. Wow, man. I mean, you got to pay attention to that. It means a lot. Messing up the DNA is what happens when you play with sex. So that's why diseases are rampant today. That's why viruses are rampant. That's why your biosystem is falling apart. That's why 40-50% of women cannot have children. Just go on and on and on. That's why everybody has all these issues. Everything's always wrong with them. You can't get together for anything anymore without somebody says, well, I can't eat this and I can't eat that. And I'm lactose. All these things are wrong with people. And it goes back to the Garden of Eden. And it goes back to Cain going east out of Eden to the people on the plain, the cities on the plain, and mixing the seed that was never meant to be mixed. Ever. Excuse me. Torah. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Ruach says to the assemblies. To him who overcomes, I will give some of my hidden manna. I will also give him a white stone with a new name written on it, known only to him who receives it. To the messenger of the assembly of Thyatira. Yeah, we're in another one. Here we go. These are the words of the son of Elohim, whose eyes are like a blazing fire and whose feet are like burnished bronze. I know your deeds, love, faith, servants, perseverance, and that you're doing more than you did at first. So far, that sounds great. Nonetheless, here we go. I have this against you. You tolerate that woman Jezebel, who calls herself a prophetess. By her teaching, she misleads my servants into sexual immorality. Are we catching something wrong with the churches that he's having difficulties with? In other words, he's not going to give them into the kingdom of Yahweh. It sounds like these churches are going to go through into the millennium, but there's going to be a whole lot of iron scepter rule and a whole lot of correction going on, and a whole lot of whatever it is we do that they do is not going to be allowed to be done anymore. And it's all in the same theme. You've heard it. It's the same theme. The 3 bad churches so far have to do with sexual immorality, messing up the DNA. Every one. Did you catch that? Because I sure didn't hear it from the Christian churches and the synagogues of Satan and these thousands of years of documents that I've gone through it and what they've done. You didn't hear it in their pulpit series. Wonder why? Well, I may lose my business. I won't have my thousands of people coming paying me money. And when things get bad, we don't have church, so we all sit in parking lots and we listen to radio. And Jesus comes over the radio and everybody gives money to me and I keep my job. Wow. All I say is wow. Torah, verse 29, still in chapter 2. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Ruach says to the assemblies. So everything we've heard so far in Torah, every single statement is hear and obey. Now he's writing to the messenger of the assembly of Sardis. And he says, let's see, I know your deeds, your reputation, you're alive, but you're really dead. Wake up. Wake up, you ding dong. Remember that what you've received, hear, obey, repent. Do it again. But if you don't wake up, I will come like a thief, and you will not know at what time I will come to you. Yet you have a few people, a remnant in Sardis, who have not spoiled their clothes. They will walk with me dressed in white, for they are worthy. He who overcomes will, like them, be dressed in white. I will never blot out his name from the book of life, but will acknowledge his name before my Father and his messengers. Now, he says you're sound asleep. You're worthless, in other words. Uh-oh, that's a bad one. 4-1. Verse 6, chapter 3. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Ruach says to the assemblies. Here we go again. The Church of Philadelphia. I know your deeds. I have placed before you an open door nobody can shut. I know that you have little strength, yet you have kept my word and have not denied my name. That's big. That's big, like the thief on the cross. He may have been a worthless thief on the cross, but you know what? He didn't deny Yeshua, and he didn't deny the name. And he says, you will be with me today in paradise. Wow. Wow. I will make those who are the synagogue of HaSatan, mentions that again, who claim to be Jews, though they are not. That's why these days I say, I talk to a lot of people who claim to be Jewish, and when you sit there and think, they're not Jewish. I don't know what they are, but they claim to be, and they act like to be, and they wear their funny clothes intentionally, and they wear a kippah, which is an invention of the 16th century, back in 1530, by the way. That's an invention that people wear. And tzitziot, and you notice I don't have those tzitziot over there anymore because they're not, it says in the Exodus that they have a white string, and not one of them had a white string in it, and they were worn by those who call themselves Jews. Well, let's see, they're Jewish, and they read the Old Covenant, and it says very plainly to make sure that your tzitzis has a white thread, and it does not, and yet they wear one that does not, intentionally. So they say they're Jews when in fact they're not. And there's the word of the Father saying exactly that. You say you're Jewish, you are a liar. You don't even pay attention to the Torah and the Old Covenant, much less the New. Okay, so how does that turn out? But he says, but you people here have not denied my name. And he's going to take care of those who are messing around, claiming to be Jews or not. He's going to take care of them. Okay, so that's a good thing. Verse 13. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Ruach says to the assemblies. And now we are in the assembly of Laodicea. We're going to stop right there. But I can tell you right now, it's not good. It's going to be bad. So this is what the last book, Revelation, has given you. It's given you a clear identity of who everybody is, and that Yahweh says, I know every one of you, and I know who's in the book of life, and I know who's going to be blotted out. So it's up to you to behave yourself. big time.